We live in an era flooded with mediocre anime, from bland isekai clones to cringe romance harems. It gets harder to find a show that actually, clicks with me. I'm extremely picky when it comes to anime, especially the mainstream stuff. Spoilers are everywhere, from X to Tiki Tac, and even YouTube thumbnails that are definitely not clickbait, making it hard to enjoy popular series like Spy X Family or My Hero Academia without already knowing like half the plot. But somehow, I have avoided spoilers for this one particular anime, and that is Solo Leveling. Maybe the algorithm gods gave me mercy, or maybe I just got lucky. Either way, I went in blind with my expectations low and saw what the hype was about. And what I found was peak.
Let's go.
Solo Leveling is an interesting series. It's literally another power fantasy anime, yet somehow exceeds my expectation. I'll assume that most of you guys haven't watched the anime, even though it's plastered all over the internet, has won Anime of the Year, Crunchyroll, which I don't think it deserves. I'll talk into that later. And to be on the same page here, let's do a small little overview of what the show is about. There are going to be spoilers. If you haven't seen it, leave the video right now and come right back to it when you're done. Or not. I don't care. I'm not your dad. Let's get to it. Solo Leveling is set in a world where mysterious portals called gates randomly appear. If left unchecked, these gates cause a dungeon break, where it spews out dangerous monsters into the world wreaking havoc, and conventional weapons does not work on them. Only humans with magical awakening called hunters can fight them. When the hunters are awakened, they are in a set rank from E to S. And there is no way for a hunter to rank up whatsoever. I find it odd at first that the world established itself to have these inherent limitations where an average low-rank hunter will stay weak no matter what. And if you're awakened and get evaluated only to find out you're E rank, you might as well go flip burgers at Mickey D's, cause E ranks are literally the worst rank for a hunter. You might as well be cannon fodder. Another thing I like about the series is that it has its own world building where people establish corporations to profit off the materials that the gate provided. There are classes of hunters ranging from tanks to frontliners to healers and mages. Some hunters are unfortunate enough to be gifted with said class that they are not proficient in, like a kendo master gifted with mage abilities, or a person that is a coward giving abilities of a frontliner. Anyways, we are following our main protagonist. Sorry, I'm gonna butcher a lot of these names. Sung Jin Woo. Look, I had to be blunt here. Jin Woo is literally the worst guy to have in your party, at least according to the Under Hunters. He is an E-rank hunter, which is already bad enough, but apparently he is the worst E-rank hunter of all time. It's sad to see Jin Woo getting his shit rocked on a daily basis, because being a hunter brings in more money than your standard conventional job, but risking your life for it? I don't know, man. I recommend looking for a different career path. But he is doing this because he got a sister to take care of, and he is trying to raise enough money to save his mom. You see, his mom has the eternal sleep disease, where she got exposed too much magical energy and put her right into the coma. And our boy is trying to raise enough funds to keep her stabilized until she wakes up. This does not make sense for some of you guys, but you know what? This is already a good motivation for me to cheer on our boy, and I'm sure nothing bad will ever happen to him.
Fuck! He forgot to put the Crocs in sport mode?
Yeah, if you've seen the anime, you already know what's coming. That double dungeon arc is where shit gets serious. The mighty giant nuked half his team, others ran away, and Jinwoo sacrificed himself to save his friends. In his near death, he swore that he would not use his kindness as a weakness ever again and pay the people who has done him wrong. Yeah, sure, you can do that, buddy. But that's when the system kicks in, a mysterious game-like interface that gives him the ability to level up. Unlike everyone else, he gets stronger. The once weakest hunter now has the potential to become the strongest hunter. I'm not going to continue this beat by beat, but these first few episodes were amazing and really engaging. Like, I didn't expect it to be this good. I binged it for like 2 days straight. The best part of Solo Leveling? The animation. The studio behind the series, A1 Pictures, did not cheap out on this. Reportedly, each episode took up like 10 months to produce. That's insane. Like, an average episode would take at least 2 to 6 months. And I gotta say, I appreciate the intense grind and effort that they put in. Every fight scene is a visual feast. The camera movement, the lighting effects, the saturation, the fancy glow effects, the CGI, surprisingly seamless. They blend both techniques, CGI and 2D animation, to bring the intense action sequence to life. You hardly even notice it. They even cranked that aesthetic up to 11. Some fans from the Freerun fandom like to argue that their show has better animation and fight scenes than Solo Leveling. No offense, but no. I don't know what kind of crack they be sniffing, but compared to the animation between these two, it's literally night and day. They really are coping to just justify why their show is far superior. As much as I like the anime, the one thing I can agree with the Freerun fandom is that it should not have one anime of the year. Look, in order for you to be a masterpiece of an anime, it has to meet my trifecta, as you will. It needs to have good animation, story, and characters. There's a lot more to it, but we'll get to there when it comes. It knocked out of the ballpark with the animation, but the other two categories, it kind of falls short. To determine what constitutes a masterpiece of an anime, it has to hit all those criteria and then some. Solo Leveling just failed at both of them, mid at best. There are two stories in the show. The one with Jinwoo saving his mom, and the other is a world-ending disaster of an S-rank game. Guess which one I am more interested in. Remember when I said the first few episodes are great for Jinwoo? Well, his narrative takes a noticeable nosedive. Before we get to him, let's talk about some of the other characters. Let's begin with Bak Yunhoo, a big warm-hearted S-rank hunter and a guild master of the White Tiger Guild, and Choi Jong-in, a sly yet friendly S-rank hunter of the Hunters Guild. Couldn't choose a better guild name myself, I tell you what. I love these guys. Their rivalry and mutual respect brought life to the show. I put these two together because these guys are the backbone of the anime B plot, where an S-rank gate has had a dungeon break and the stakes are really high, especially with these buggers evolving. Bak just mostly investigates Jinwoo's presence in every incident that involves his guild, but all in all, both of these chuckle nuts, despite being in different guilds, are willing to cooperate with each other to fight a common cause. Then we have Yoo Jin-ho, a D-rank hunter. I like him. He's a dork, a comic relief, a loyal friend, rich, and rides with Jinwoo even though when he's scared out of his mind.
I think I might.
Miss Han is underage. You do know that, right?
What about it?
He is my favorite character by far in the series. Then there is Chai Hae-in, and to be honest with you, she is not much of a character. Whenever she's on screen, you can hear her conversation and other people like, "Ooh, wow, isn't that the S-rank hunter? So cool." We never really see her do anything cool or important, except for that one final battle, but she got one-tapped by that Diet Chimera ant. Nothing is more to say about her. Her personality is pretty boring. Like, I don't know why people would ship her and Jinwoo. I did not read the webtoon comic, so I have no say on what's going on, but I don't really see the chemistry between the two, or even have a conversation. Well, he did save her from near death, I guess? I mean, even minor characters like Issa Raru, the demon girl, and Lee Jo-hee have more of a better connection with our protagonist than her. Speaking of Jo-hee, she is a B-rank hunter that is a close friend with Jinwoo. Or at least I think she is. I don't know why, but I thought she was going to be a bigger character in the series. She had a real potential. She survived the double dungeon with Jinwoo, suffered from PTSD, and clearly cares about our protagonist, but she fades into the background. I kept waiting for her to have a moment, but it never really came. She did appear a couple of times in the series, but not really doing anything besides being a backline healer or recounting her PTSD. Like, I thought she was going to confess or at least try to heal with Jinwoo, but we don't get anything like that. And a matter of fact, all the female characters, even the side characters, don't even do anything in the series. They relegated to background characters, witnessing the aura oozing out of our protagonists. They are reduced to being admiration machines when Jinwoo does something cool. Even when they introduce new characters like Park Hae-jin or Han Sung-yi, the writer doesn't do anything with them. At least not at first. Sometimes the female characters either have minor fight scenes or decimated. And the crazy thing is that from all the cosplayers I have seen on TikTok, they mostly cosplay as Isil because she is adorable, the most recognizable, actually has a personality, and useful compared to some of the other characters. Like when she helped Jinwoo guide her through that hell tower and beat the main boss there. Granted, her help is throwing a glorified toothpick at it, but it did distract it long enough for Jinwoo to kick its ass. The writer just made a lot of these female characters boring. I'm getting too heated here. Where was I? Oh right, there are many other characters, but I don't think I had enough time or care to list them all. Trust me, they don't really do much. And of course, we save our main boy for last, Jinwoo. Jinwoo. Oh, Jinwoo. Let's talk about Jinwoo's story real quick. He has a clear goal of what he is doing. He tries to find a way to awaken his mother from his eternal sleep by any means necessary. Climb that hell tower to retrieve the ingredients to get this holy potion. We can see his motivation, his I am not giving up attitude is inspiring and something I can root for. But throughout the story, I just don't really care about him anymore. You see, Jinwoo was a kind, timid, and a very positive individual that no matter what people say about him, he pushes forward, strives to become a better hunter. But in the later series, he is like some edgy oral farming badass that takes away his original character. If you were to tell me that these two characters are the same person, I would probably believe you over a few year time skip. But no, the entire series took place in the span of 3 months. So you are telling me that it took him 3 months to become an S-rank hunter? To be honest, that is some insane grinding he did. Like, he grinds harder than your average AI content farmer. Like, yes, he'd be gone for like weeks at a time, but to reach a high rank in such a short amount of time is insane to me. It kind of disappoints me of how Jinwoo just goes from a soft, kind-hearted person to another generic, overpowered badass. But people don't just change in such a short time span, unless, you know, they get like a lobotomy or some shit. But to be fair, he did go through some heavy shit, especially from that double dungeon experience. But all in all, these two are not the same character. And the skills he obtained throughout this journey gets ridiculous. Allocating skill points to become faster, more durable, and stronger. Gain many useful skills and trinkets, but nothing is compared to his most busted ability. You see, in writing, you need to have limit at how strong your character needs to be. You can't have your MC be like Superman flying over the world, killing enemies in one blow. One Punch Man gets a pass on that because Saitama is supposed to be a joke character. But in serious shows like Solo Leveling, you need to have like stakes so that our protagonists would have to struggle to achieve their goal. We want our protagonists to struggle so that it creates character development and a compelling narrative to keep us engaged in the story. Rooting our heroes to beat the odds. After season 1 though, this single ability alone breaks what makes this show interesting. Shadow Extraction is an ability that extracts shadows from the corpses and added them to his army. Sounds like a really powerful ability, but in the beginning there were restrictions in place. 1. There is a storage capacity, so he can only recruit a certain amount of troops to extract, so he needs to be mindful of how many shadows he needs to extract before it reaches capacity. Also, some shadows would take up some capacity, so it's not like he can exchange 100 soldiers to 100 dragons and some shit like that. They have troop value. 2. They cost a lot of mana to cast. He needs to be mindful of how much he can pump out, or else he's going to run out of mana and cannot use his other skills and abilities. 3. Jinwoo cannot get any drop items when his army killed enemies, so whatever valuable loot the monsters may drop, Jinwoo cannot obtain that. And lastly, there are some corpses that can resist the extraction process. We have actually seen that he had failed an extraction on one boss, which shows the power's limitation and he couldn't just extract every corpse that he came across. Shadow extraction could have been a genius mechanic with solid limitations that Jinwoo would not rely on it, giving it a high risk, high reward dilemma. Then the show just chucked everything out of the window. By mid-season 2, he's summoning an entire undead army like it's nothing. Fights become more one-sided. Using the shadow army may not drop items, but it is an excellent source of XP farming and gold. So wherever the dungeon he goes, you can just let his army out and attack any enemy he comes across, like an auto battle from Pokemon. And with access to a shop menu for mana potions and gear, he's pretty much untouchable. The stakes disappear, and with that, my excitement. Hell, he was even recruiting higher level monsters and some of them all at once. Like, I guess they forgot about the troop capacity. I believe he would make it to the top through attrition, but Shadow Extraction trivializes his journey by just flicking his finger and sending out his army to do his bidding. Don't get me wrong, seeing his army fighting in large-scale battles is badass. This just brings down Jinwoo's already bad character development further down. By the end, Jinwoo feels less like a character and more like a Gary Stu. He even shows up in the overpowered characters pop-up bar on Google. When I think about it, I don't even recall him ever losing a battle. He almost died, sure, but he always comes out on top, even in fights where I believe he should have lost. He could have just simply tucked his tail between his legs, leave the dungeon, and come back another time. But all in all, he never lost a fight. That really drives my hype down, realizing that he never truly struggles, never known defeat, or even kicked to the curb. He just became another generic overpowered main character that has been run to death in this era of anime. Even in the final few episodes where we see our heroes going to Chimera Ant Island, like over a dozen S-class heroes struggling to beat this diet Chimera Ant and losing so hard, yet the moment Jinwoo showed up, he easily beat it with no problem. So the stakes are non-existent if you were to just show up sooner. I get that they're trying to create tension and showcase how strong he is, but it literally defeats the whole purpose of this entire arc's major threats. It is nothing but another enemy to him, and that pisses me off. My hype was already down, but yet this was able to extract this Chimera Ant shadow, so now that he has the most overpowered shadow in his arsenal that multiple S-class heroes have died from. He could have just kept the healer he resurrected and tell him to f*** off, but yet he is benevolent and do what his teammates said and release him? Huh? What happened to never being kind and never using it as a weakness? Jinwoo, you broke your own promise, and now you're just becoming a benevolent savior? His personality is not consistent. He doesn't really have that much of a character development anymore. How can you? Especially with what happens throughout the series. There were glimmers of psychological tension, like time the system forced him to kill or face death. That could have led to a real internal conflict, like I believe the system is slowly nurturing Jinwoo to become the most dangerous boss in the world, and everyone is powerless against him. But in season 2, it never really was brought up again. The subplot goes nowhere, like we missed an interesting part of his struggle and just swept under the rug. It's a shame, because I like the side characters more than Jinwoo, because they show weakness and dynamic interactions when they are with each other. Despite all my nitpicks and harsh criticism, I enjoy the hell out of this anime. It's not deep, it doesn't need to be. It's one of those shows that you can just throw on after a long day, shut off your brain, and enjoy the spectacle. Like Dragon Ball Super. It carried by its hype, fights, and moments, not its plot. And the anime has cemented itself to be part of the anime culture, either people trashing it, calling it the worst anime of all time, releasing SAO from its shackles, or people praising it for its fantastic fight scenes. Jinwoo's aura farming spawned. Jinwoo's aura farming. Jinwoo's aura farming spawned the meme where the term aura is thrown all around the internet, even if the person had never knew that it came from the anime. Does it deserve anime of the year? Probably not, but man, it is a goddamn good watch. Despite its success in the West, the anime f***ing bomb in Japan. I did some research here. At first I thought it was like a racial thing because Southeast Asians don't really like each other that much. But no, you dumb f***. There's actually more to it. You see, despite being a webtoon comic, mostly having South Korean comics, it's actually super popular in Japan. I mean, why else would they greenlight it? Despite its popularity, Blu-ray sales only hits like around 600 units, while Girls und Panzer, an anime about girls in tanks, sold over 32,000 in the same week. That is baffling. Like, why did this happen? Well, here are a few reasons. In Japan, the names of these characters are localized. Like, A1 Pictures went out of their way changing Korean names to Japanese names. Like, it's a bit jarring, especially when the story takes place in Korea. And the Japanese characters appear at the end of the second season, so it's like, it doesn't really make any sense why you need to change their name. Speaking of which, reason number 2, the story change. The anime softens its portrayal of Japan, which was more antagonistic in the webtoon comics. I don't know if the studio does this in fear of increased the Japanese-Korean tension, but rewriting the anti-Japanese message drags down the narrative and stakes that happen in the webtoon comic. Remember, people in Japan already are fans of the webtoon comic, so making this rewrite doesn't make any sense. Japanese fans aren't always forgiving when they feel pandered, even when the story is controversial. Still, the show is still popular worldwide. That a third season is actually confirmed, likely to drop in late 2026 or early 2027. Will I watch it? Probably not. Junwoo already achieved his goal. He saved his mom. That was an emotional core of the story for me, and I'm satisfied. There is nothing more for me to watch. Who knows? I might get into it depending on what social media says about it. We'll see when the time comes.